Hello, everybody, and welcome here up at BSN Network. Today is Thursday, April 14th, coming off another big night last night in the world of sports. Got a lot going on as well tonight. Yankees took a tough loss yesterday to the Toronto Blue Jays 6-4. It was a pretty wild one, a pretty action-packed game. Vlad Guerrero just dominated. He went 4 for 4, 3 home runs, and a double. Just an amazing night by Vlad, and something that will be talked about for a long time, for a couple days from now. We talked about all today. We'll be talked about all into last night. I mean, it was a special night last night for Vlad Guerrero Jr. For the Yankees. It was a tough loss, like I said. We had opportunities. We had chances. Couldn't come through. Stan comes up in the, he comes up in the 8th inning and hits a ball that I thought, I got up and I was like, yeah, this is a gone. And then, it was hit. And it was like watching it from the live broadcast when he first hit it, it's like, this thing's gone. And it's almost like the ball just died. It's like the ball just died. He hit it, and then it just like died. And on the warning track, Ramil Tapia made the play. So really tough loss for the Yankees, but we'll be back in action tonight against the Blue Jays to wrap up the fourth game of the 4-game set. Mets took the win last night, so they win the series. They have a day off today. They'll be back in action tomorrow night, which will be their home opener against the Diamondbacks. As for the Rangers, they got the win last night, 4-0. Georgiev with another shutout. So it's little by little, Georgie's starting to, boost up his numbers a little bit, get a little better as the season starts to close out. Rangers get the 4-0 win. Capo Caco had a really good game, 2 goals for him. Good to see that out of him coming off an injury. Andrew Kopp and Breadman Artemi Panarin as well added on Kopp with the empty netter to finish things off. So it was a 4-0 victory. And look, like I said, we lost against Carolina on Wednesday night, or on Tuesday night. It was a bounce back game, or on a Wednesday night. Or Tuesday night, I'm sorry. Yesterday was Wednesday. Tuesday night, it was the second half of back-to-back. It was a bounce-back game. It's against the Flyers team that's eliminated, has no chance. A Flyers team that's one of the worst in the league. It was a bounce-back opportunity. Rangers did just that and got the win 4-0. Islanders didn't play yesterday. The Islanders will be back in action today. They'll be in Pittsburgh against the Penguins at I believe it's PPG Paints Arena. So they'll be back in action tonight. So Islanders tonight, Yankees tonight, Mets have a day off. They'll be back in action tomorrow. Rangers have a day off today and tomorrow. They'll be back in action for a matinee hockey on Saturday at the Garden against the Red Wings. So a couple days off for the Rangers. Islanders back in action tonight against the Penguins. Yankees finish off a 4-game series as before they head out to Baltimore for the weekend series starting tomorrow. And then, like I mentioned, Mets have a day off today. They'll have their home opener tomorrow night against the Diamondbacks, which will open up a 3-game series from Friday into Sunday. All right, so a lot to get to today. Let's get to the topics. A big football, or big, I shouldn't say football, a big football day yesterday, a big baseball day today. So we got 2 baseball topics today. We're going to start off with the big controversy around Clayton Kershaw and him being pulled. So yesterday, Clayton Kershaw had a perfect game through 7 innings, and Dave Roberts ended up pulling him. So it was 7 innings, he had 80 pitches, and the Dodgers manager, Dave Roberts, ended up pulling him. And it's kind of created a big stir around the MLB of where the game's at. Should he have went the distance? Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? I'm going to tell you what if I do agree with it. If I don't agree with it, I talked a little about it yesterday. I'm going to go a little bit more into detail today. And I'm going to kind of take a deep dive into it and really talk about as well how dominant he was. And, is vintage Kershaw maybe coming back? We'll get to that and much more. And then we'll get to the Vlad Guerrero Jr. Performance last night was phenomenal. He went 4 for 4, 3 home runs, 2 of those coming off of Garrett Cole, the other one coming off of Johnny Lasagna, Jonathan Loaizaga out of the bullpen. He went 4 for 4, had 2 home runs, first inning home runs, third inning home run. 6th inning, he had a double, and in the 8th inning, he added on another home run, which was kind of like the final gut punch. Like, not that the Yankees would have necessarily. I mean, it was, it would have been a little bit more of an interesting game, but it would have been a different ball game if he doesn't hit that other home run. So 4 for 4, dominant night for him. I also want to take a little bit of a deep dive into Cole's outing because I think a lot of people are crushing Cole today, and he really didn't pitch that bad. And I want to take some stats from my scorebook and kind of show you that, like, outside of Vlad last night, he was good. So, I mean, I think there's the stuff around Cole is a little unnecessary, I feel like. So, we'll get to that, and then we'll finish it off with the New York sports update. Like I said, Islanders, Yankees in action tonight. Nets, like I've been saying, play on Sunday. And Boston open up their series, and the Yankees will finish up a 4-game set today. They go for the series split tonight, so hoping that we can get the series split, and then we have 3 games against Boston or against Baltimore, and you gotta hope you get the win tonight. You move on from the series. You got Monty on the mound tonight, and now you go into Baltimore 3-game set that the expectation is to sweep. So then you get a little bit of momentum, and then you just continue to grind it out. So we'll see how everything plays out. But with all that being said, this is BSN Podcast, and let's get right into it. All right, so after a big football day yesterday, with both my topics yesterday being football topics, today I'm going to get to 2 baseball topics. So like I said, we're going to start off with Clayton Kershaw and then get to Vlad Guerrero Jr. and his dominant performance that he had last night and really just taking the league by storm, it seems like, every single night, because he is a dominant player and he is one of the best in the league and one of the better ones. The game has, one of the better ones we've ever seen come up and have success this much early on into his career, and had a great year last year and had another great year, having a good season again this season, off to a good start early on. But I wanted to get to start things off, like I mentioned, the Clayton Kershaw stuff. So, obviously, it's early in the season. Pitchers, we haven't seen too many pitchers universally around the league. There hasn't been too many long outings for pitchers. It's been a lot of, 5 innings, some 4 innings, some 6 innings. We haven't really seen any 8, 9 inning, complete games, 7, 8 innings, deep into ball games where guys are just shutting things down, just, throwing strikes, boom, 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 boom. We haven't really seen that. And part of it's because of the lockout, shortened spring training. And the other part of it, too, is it's early in the season. A lot of these managers, a lot of these organizations feel that pitchers, and the pitchers feel that way, but, themselves, too, is these are, we're talking about the first 10 games of the season. There's no need to throw 120 pitches or 110 pitches your second, you're in your first outing of the season when at the end of the year, these games really mean nothing. I mean, and I don't want to be, now, obviously, Yankees and Red Sox games and Yankees Blue Jays game mean a lot, but let's be honest here, Dodgers and Twins last night, it didn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things, when you really look at at the end of the season, is anybody going to be talking about the Dodgers-Twins series early in the season, other than the fact that Clayton Kershaw had a perfect game going through 9 innings, or going through 7 innings. 9 innings would be a perfect game. So, obviously, managers have all kind of played it differently. Now, for the Mets side of things, they've stretched their pitchers out a little bit. Scherzer's fine. I think he had 93 pitches the other day or something like that. He's been stretched out. Kershaw yesterday did throw 80 pitches. He was being stretched out a little bit. He probably could have been stretched out more. And I, to a certain extent, I understand some of it, where coaches are trying to ease pitchers back into it. You don't want to throw... in your first 2 outings, you don't want to throw 210 combined pitches, and then when they need you to have big starts late in the season, you can't because you're worn down. You don't want that. So I understand that aspect of it. But and like I said, before I go really into this, I think Dave Roberts is an excellent manager. He's had great success with the Dodgers. The Dodgers have done great under him, and the Dodgers continue to look like another team that could really be a force to be reckoned with again this year, and we saw that yesterday with a 7-0 victory. But what took place yesterday was beyond just, it was really frustrating as a fan what took place yesterday. So Clayton Kershaw yesterday gets pulled after 7 perfect innings. We're not talking about no-hitter. We're not talking about one-hit baseball. We're talking about 7 innings of perfect baseball. There's only been 23 perfect games in history. And he had 80 pitches. He had 13 strikeouts. And then he had 21 batters faced. So he struck out 13 of the 21 batters he faced. 80 pitches, 53 of those were strikes. So his strike-to-ball ratio was amazing. He was dominant. He was doing everything right. He was nailing all his pitches, hitting the strike zone, making Twins hitters look silly. 13 strikeouts. That looked like vintage Clayton Kershaw. Goes into the dugout, and the Dodgers take him out. Dave Roberts and the Dodgers coaching staff made a decision to take him out. 80 pitches. It's early in the season. You don't want to stretch him too much. That, to me, is mind-boggling. And I understand Kershaw says he understands it. He has no issue with it. It's all the lockout's fault. They're trying to ramp up. But when we talk about history, you talk about being 2 innings. We talk about being 6 outs away from a perfect game, being 6 outs away from being the 24th of all time. All time. We're talking about now 23 perfect games. When you think about it, might seem like a lot. But that's ranging from the day baseball started all the way until now. The amount of pitches that have been thrown, the amount of outings that have been made, there's only been 23 perfect games. When you're 6 outs away from getting a perfect game, I don't care how early in the season it is. I don't care what the weather is. I don't care where your pitch count is. I'm throwing you back out there, and the pitcher should want to go back out there for another inning and try to finish the thing off. And you know what? This is how the Dodgers should have done it. They put him back out there. He had 80 pitches. He was pitching pretty efficient. 80 pitches across 7 innings is pretty efficient. I've always kind of said this where, if you want to gauge how efficient you're being, go off of kind of the inning, the number of the inning, and the first number of how many pitches you have. Like, if you're in the 6th inning, you have like 90 pitches, that's not really efficient. If you're in the 6th inning, you have like 70 pitches, that's pretty efficient. If you're in the 6th inning and you have like 65 pitches, that's really efficient. That's about, 9 to 10 pitches an inning. That's really efficient. If you have 90 pitches, if you have 95 pitches through 7 innings, that's not greatly efficient. That's more about 15, probably about pitches an inning. That's not as efficient. So he was being efficient. 80 pitches in 7 innings, and that was at the end of the 7th inning. That's efficient. You talk about coming out the next inning, you could have a 6-pitch inning, boom, go into the bottom of the 9th, in the 9th inning of 86 pitches. And it's not like 80 pitches is a crazy amount. It's not like we're talking about him being at 100 pitches through 7 innings. 80 pitches, Kershaw's more than capable of going back out there for another inning and dominating. And what the Dodgers should have done, and why didn't they do it, I don't know. They should have warmed up a guy in the bullpen and threw Kershaw back out there. If Kershaw allows a hit, you take him out. Even if Kershaw allows a walk and breaks up the perfect game, but the no-hitter's in play, you take him out. I'm not discounting the level of what a no-hitter means, because it's still a great thing to do. If you could throw a no-hitter, that's still a great thing to do. But at the same time, let's be real here. At the same time, no-hitters are great, but last season it seemed like no-hitters were happening every other day. So if he was throwing a no-hitter, I can understand. But a perfect game is completely... I don't care what excuse you come up with. Oh, it's early in the season. You're throwing a perfect game. You could go down... you're going to baseball history. Your first start of the season could be a perfect game. I would love to look up how many pitchers in their first start pitched a perfect game. That might be the first one ever. You're talking about starting off a season on a high note. Throwing a perfect game would be amazing. So I just don't get the logic. I don't get the reasoning behind it. I get it. It's cold. It's early. It's April. You're easing back into it. But when you're throwing a perfect game. Obviously, the pitcher's in a groove. He's in a rhythm. I'm sure Kershaw was feeling great, and I'm sure he feels great today. If he throws 15 more pitches and he has a perfect game and he has the water dumped on him, I'm sure he's feeling even better today. So I don't really understand it. I should say, this is where baseball's at in terms of where managers are doing it. So I'm not surprised, but I would not do that. And it really frustrated me as a baseball fan, because as a baseball fan, you want to see history. You want to see things like that. Kershaw going out there and throwing perfect game in his first start is amazing. So, it really does. It's just frustrating that these managers play it all safe. Like, come on, let's back off the safe button for a second, and let's look at what this could mean. Throwing a perfect game, going down as the 24th all time. What do you really? I guess okay. Oh well, it was a 3-run ball game. So it's not. I don't understand where the Dodgers are coming from. And I strongly disagree with this. I really do. They should have kept Kershaw out there. He was throwing a perfect game. He's in a rhythm. He's in a groove. And look, if he was throwing a no-hitter, I can understand. But it's a perfect game. Big difference. Big difference. All the pitchers, all the outings that have happened over the years of baseball, to have 23 of those, that's something special. But, and also, and a lot of people, too, talk about Kershaw being out of his prime and stuff. Big way to shut up all those people would be go out there and dominate like that. And he did have a dominant performance, but what I would have done, you throw him back out there. If he allows a hit, you take him out, you bring in the guy in the bullpen. Boom. He could have allowed a hit on his first pitch the next inning. Is 81 pitches, then 80 pitches a big difference? You just gotta, it just doesn't make sense. I really am frustrated about this because it's just this is kind of where baseball's at. You don't see nearly as many pitchers throwing as long anymore. And when you see managers play it way too safe like this, it's tough as a fan because you want to see historical things like this. And by the way, the next inning, Twins ended up getting hit. So it was a one-hit game. Now you can only play the what-if game. What if he stayed out there? I'm not going to sit here and play the what-if game. I mean, if you're a believer in predetermined outcomes, he wasn't gonna pitch the perfect game anyway because there would have been a hit. But I think 7 innings, 80 pitches is efficient. He's rolling. He's got 13 strikeouts. Twins aren't touching him. And to take him out, it doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't. And I'll tell you what, if that was Boone taking out like Cole or somebody like that, I'd be even more furious. But the fact that I root for the Dodgers for the World Series, but I'm not a Dodgers fan. I'm a Yankee fan, obviously. The fact that this isn't my team, I'm still frustrated, but I'm not as. If Boone would have went out there and took out like Cole in the 7th inning, let's say yesterday this was Cole. If Boone took him out, I would have been furious. I would be ripping Boone today. Or if Boone would to ever do that. So maybe Kershaw's next start, he goes out there, throws a perfect game, and Dave Roberts keeps him in. And you could thank the lockout. It's the lockout's fault. Okay, but I mean, it's a perfect game for crying out loud. I mean, we're not talking about 7 innings of 3-hit ball, 13 strikeouts, no runs allowed. We're talking about no hits, no base runners, 13 strikeouts, and an efficient 7 innings of work with 80 pitches. I mean, I just don't get it. So, I would love to hear your comments down below because this is something that I wanted to talk about, but this is something that it's got the baseball world split. Half people think this is, a lot of people think this was the right move. It's early in the season, which I don't understand that logic. I mean, you're throwing a perfect game, and even though it's early in the season, his pitch count was high. He had 80 pitches. That's an efficient amount through 7 innings of work. I mean, it's not like we're talking about 100 pitches through 7 innings. He had 80 pitches, so you can't even make that argument of it's a lot of pitches because it's really not. It's really not. And then there's half the people like me that think it's dumb. So I'd like to hear where you stand on this. So I had a lot going on yesterday in the world of baseball. You had a dominant pitching performance in Minnesota with him, and then you had Vlad, which I'll get to in a second here, dominating. So I'll just give you the final numbers from Kershaw. Like I said, 7 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks, obviously 13 strikeouts. He was dominant. Yeah, that yesterday looked like vintage Kershaw. And the bullpen did what they needed to do. 1 inning, 2 innings. They allowed 1 hit, 1 walk, and they had a strikeout. So combined, Dodgers had a 1-hit shutout. So not that that's anything crazy special, but it is. Gary Sanchez, by the way, ended up breaking up the perfect game. He had what was it? Was it a single? I believe. I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you. Gary Sanchez broke up the perfect game. So, 9 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, 14 strikeouts. And as a whole, Dodgers pitched 107 pitches. So, the bullpen guys were pretty efficient as well. 68 of those 107 pitches were strikes. So, Dodgers improved to 3-2. Twins fall to 2-4. And the Dodgers will start up a series today at home against the Reds. 4-game series today. This is actually their home opener. So they'll have their home opener tonight against the Reds. And, yeah. By the way, the Dodgers outscored the Twins 14-2 in those 2 games. So So a pretty lopsided series there. So Dodgers will get 4 today. The next time Kershaw pitches will be, is it the Braves? Yeah, it will be a Braves. So next time Kershaw pitches against the Braves. So, you know what's weird is, like, I would think, and maybe this is just me, like, if I was Kershaw, I'd be yelling at Dave Roberts, keep me in this game. Like, I don't care where it is. When you have a chance to make history like that, I'd be yelling. I'd be screaming my head off. Get me back in this game. And warm somebody up in the bullpen. So if you allow a hit, you're out of there. Because then at that point, the perfect game's gone. At that point, you could head to the locker room, ice up your arm, and feel good about your day. But I don't understand. So anyway, baseball's an interesting spot because you don't see nearly as many guys. And to a certain point, it's not the part, like the whole, a lot of people saying, oh, guys don't pitch 9 innings anymore. Like that part, and it doesn't bother me. I mean, a lot of those people, the people that are saying, oh, nobody goes 9 innings anymore, or these guys are soft. Well, the players back in the day, they used to go 9 innings every single game. A lot of those guys are struggling to move their arms now. So it's also a lot more modern technology. People know how the arm works. You don't want to go out there and throw a pitcher 120 pitches night in and night out. And also you have some of the better relievers in the league. Now bullpens are a lot more involved. But last night's a different case where you're throwing a perfect game. Like there's history on the line. There's stuff that will go. There's Hall of Fame stuff on the line in that game. I mean, you're going down in baseball history, and to take him out just doesn't make sense to me. Like I said, no hitter, I would understand it. Any other typical game, I understand it. Perfect game, I think it's very stupid. So, anyway, that will do it for the Clayton Kershaw stuff. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the complete opposite of Clayton Kershaw. So, yesterday, Kershaw throws almost a perfect game. And then we're going to talk about the opposite of a perfect game, and that is an offensive explosion by Vlad Guerrero Jr. 4 for 4, 3 home runs, and a double. We'll get to that and much more coming up next. All right, so welcome back here up at the podcast today, Thursday, April 14th. Yankees tonight against the Blue Jays, looking for a series split. Before they head on the road for a 6-game road trip starting Friday, starting tomorrow, starting in Baltimore and ending next Thursday, in Detroit. So, good opportunity, hopefully, for the Yankees to get a win tonight. Get back-to-back win, or get a series split. It's kind of been an up and down rocky series. Like you had, first game they got shut out. Second game they shut out the Blue Jays. Third game, or then you had yesterday's game where you had a ton of opportunities. You had Vlad Guerrero just dominant. Yankees were still in the game, and they lost 6-4. And now you have tonight, which we'll see what we got in store tonight. So last night's game was pretty amazing. Was pretty wild. It was definitely a wild one for sure. There was a lot of stuff that went on. You obviously had the Blue Jays got off to an early 3-0 lead. Yankees then in the bottom of the fifth put up a 3-run spot with Rizzo and Judge going back-to-back home runs. And then the Blue Jays in the 7th added a run, 4-3. And then they added another one in the 8th. That got it to 6-3. The Yankees then added one in the bottom of the 8th, got it to 6-4 with a solo home run by Glaber. And then and then you obviously had in the bottom of the 8th as well. You had Stanton was this close from hitting a home run that would have tied the game for the Yankees. And then obviously in the bottom of the 9th, you had Rizzo got on, Higgy got out, Rizzo got on, and it was Rizzo got on, Judge struck out. So then it was 2 outs. Donaldson got up, hit a hard line drive right at Vlad, got him out. So Vlad pretty much dominated the Yankees last night. So Yankees had opportunities. Yankees had chances. Couldn't take advantage of them. In the bottom of the 5th, the Yankees, it's almost like in the bottom of the 5th, there was just an explosion. Rizzo hit a home run. The very next pitch, Judge hit a home run. And then early in the game, too, you had the ball bounced off of Hicks's glove, bounced out of Hicks's glove. It was a home run. And then you have Vlad Guerrero Jr. turning a 98-mile-an-hour fastball in at his hands. You had Aaron Hicks's his note or his card that tells him where to play or where to go got stuck on the top of his head. So a pretty wild and wacky night last night for the Yankees and the Blue Jays, given the fact that the two aces for both teams were on the mound, Garrett Cole and Jose Berrios. It was 10 runs combined. There was a lot of action. It was a lot of sporadic action. It was like, a couple times it was like dominant pitching, then it was like all this offense. Dominant pitching, all this offense. It was just a wild, sporadic 9 innings of baseball. And Vlad Guerrero Jr. last night dominated. So he went 4 for 4 last night. And 3 home runs. So he got the hat trick and he had a double. And that's just what Vlad Guerrero Jr. can do. I mean, on a night in and night out basis, I've always said it. I think Vlad Guerrero Jr. personally should have won MVP last year. You guys know how I feel about Ohtani. I mean, I think he's got a lot of talent. He's fun to watch. But I think in terms of Vlad Guerrero Jr., what the guy can do is just simply remarkable and something that you don't get to see too often in this game, and that is 3 home runs and a double. And he does it so much consistently. And, I mean, a guy who now is batting, 391 on the season, he's got 4 RBIs. And, I mean, it just seemed as if everything the Yankees tried to throw at him, he pretty much hit. I mean, that's really how it is. And the crazy part is yesterday, he faced, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. He faced 9 pitches. And in those 9 pitches, he found a way to hit 3 home runs and 2 doubles. And that other home run coming up against Loaizaga came on the first pitch. And the big home run for me last night was the 3rd inning home run, where he took Cole deep the first at bat. It was a bad pitch by Cole. It was a hanging slider. He took it deep. That was with all the craziness around, all the craziness around it bouncing out of Hicks's glove. They had to review it. It ended up being a home run. But that was a hanging slider. I mean, a lot of guys are going to hit that. But what really separated last night's home run for me amongst the rest was, Cole located the pitch perfectly. He did everything he needed to do. He located the pitch. He did what he needed to do. 90-mile-an-hour fastball in at the hands. And somehow, Vlad Guerrero Jr., 90% of the league, 95% of the league. I mean, if you're a human, you ground that ball out. Or you swing and miss, or you get under and you pop it up to like the catcher or the first baseman or somebody like that. Or you just foul it back. Most players are not going to do much with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball in at the hands. From my own personal experience of playing baseball, now let me tell you, I'm not facing 98-mile-an-hour fastballs. The fastest I probably face right now is probably low 70, high 60s, low 70s, anywhere from 68 to probably 71. That's kind of in the range I'm facing right now. The average pitcher where I'm facing is probably about 66, 67. So I'm not facing 98-mile-an-hour fastball. But what I can tell you from my experience is any inside pitch that I get, some of them are faster than others, faster than an off-speed pitch. A fastball that's in at the hands is extremely hard to turn on. And a lot of times, as a player and anybody, a lot of times, chop on those or swing under those or just don't get the bat path around quick enough to connect on those. But what Vlad did was turned on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball in at the hands. And, Cole located the pitch perfectly. Cole did everything he needed to do. Sure, maybe he could have got it a tad higher, but, he can't be perfect with every single pitch. That pitch, like I said, 99% of the league would swing and miss at that pitch or do what I just said. Roll over it, foul it back, pop it up, not do any major damage with that pitch. But Vlad Guerrero Jr. took that pitch, turned on it, and just whacked it, and that thing got out in a hurry. And that's just the pure, and I've always said, that's just the pure skill that he has. That stuff can't be taught. That's just a lot of natural talent, natural ability, straight up being a great baseball player that is just a pure hitter and could do so much damage night in and night out. Because a lot of other average guys wouldn't be able to do that. Vlad Guerrero Jr., on the other hand, would be able to do that. And like I said, Garrett Cole's getting a lot of beef today, but That was a perfectly located pitch. I mean, it was a perfect pitch, and I'm sitting there doing the scorebook, and I'm looking at the TV, and it hits a home run, and I'm like, I wanted to watch the replay, and I'm like, what did Cole do wrong on this pitch? And then obviously the Yes Network's like, he didn't do anything wrong, and it was an excellent located pitch. It's just Vlad Guerrero Jr. doing Vlad Guerrero Jr. things, and that's why Vlad Guerrero Jr. is batting .391 as an MVP candidate last year, and it's going to be another one this year. So. And then he came back in the 6th inning with a double. And in the 8th inning, it was kind of like the gut punch. Had a home run that led to a 2-run inning that got them to 6 runs. So a 4-for-4 night, 4 RBIs, 4 hits, 3 runs scored, .391 batting average. His on-base percentage right now is .417. And his slugging is all the way up to .957. And you look at this Blue Jays lineup, and a lot of people talk about how it's so right-handed heavy. But I mean, look at this Blue Jays lineup from top to bottom. I mean, start with Springer, go to Bichette, go to Guerrero Jr., Hernandez, who obviously got hurt, had to leave the game. Then Gurriel. I mean, even down to the bottom of the order, with Espinal, who's been hitting really well. He didn't really do much last night, but early in the series, he's been doing well. He actually's kind of taken over Biggio's spot. I mean, just the lineup with so much power and so much potential. And Vlad Guerrero Jr. continues to show us all why he is one of the best in the game, and he continues to show us how dominant this Blue Jays lineup is. I mean, you got to face Springer, who can be really good. Then you got to face Bichette, who had a double last night. And then you got to face Guerrero, who went 4-for-4. It's like, that's a gauntlet. And then Teoscar Hernandez, who's really solid as well, off to a good start with a .316 batting average this season. And you go down the list to Gurriel, who, is off to a little bit of a slower start, but has some power, and we know what he's capable of, especially in the outfield with his defense. I mean, there's so much strength to this lineup. And as Yankee fans, we continue to see it on display. And this is kind of what the Blue Jays, this is what separates the Blue Jays amongst the rest, is this type of lineup, where you can have Springer, Bichette, Guerrero, first 3 batters you got to face as a pitcher. I mean, you talk about trying to settle into a game, and you got to face those 3 guys to start off, not easy. And to my point with Garrett Cole, he did not pitch bad at all last night. I mean, if Vlad Guerrero Jr. got removed from the lineup, Cole pitches a 1-hit. I mean, Cole probably pitches 7 innings of 1-run baseball. I mean, the first home run, he hung a slider. That was bad. Second home run, that's just Vlad Guerrero Jr. doing Vlad Guerrero Jr. things. And to be honest with you, he struck out. He had Springer. Springer ended up grounding out to him twice, and he struck out Springer. He struck out Bichette twice. So he's had 3 strikeouts among Springer and Bichette, so he's able to shut them down. And even down in the order to Kirk and Chapman, he was able to get them down. Tapia as well. It was just Guerrero for all Yankees pitchers, because he took Jonathan Loaisiga deep. Guerrero was just dominant last night. And I mean, it was to be honest, I'm obviously not a Blue Jay fan, but I mean, he put on a show. I mean, it was fun to watch him, and he put on a show. I gotta admit, he did. I mean, there's not much else I could tell you. And for Cole, it was an unlucky night. It was just a night where Vlad Guerrero Jr. was just dominant, and we're going to see a lot of that. But to my point with Cole and to his numbers, last night he had this to my point with Cole. Last night he had 5 2/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 2 home runs. You remove those 2 home runs, he's a lot more dominant. So, not a bad outing at all from Cole, but, I mean, you obviously had, 10, you obviously had 8 hits from the Blue Jays, 4 of those coming from Vlad. I mean, 4 of those coming from Vlad. Vlad had half their hits. Pretty crazy night for Vlad Guerrero Jr. and just showing us all why he's so dominant and what he can do. So, big night for him. Yankees look to bounce back today at the stadium against the Blue Jays. Kind of surprised this is a... let me see here. Where do the Blue Jays go next? Blue Jays are out west. They go to... oh, no, never mind. They're back home. So I take that back. Usually, day games like this are usually getaway days. So they usually have day games. But tonight's game's at 7:05, which I guess I understand because Blue Jays are going back home, and the Yankees are going to Baltimore. So it's not far for either team. So I guess I understand why. But like I said, Yankees look to split the series today. And maybe look to calm down. Maybe look to calm down Vlad Guerrero Jr. a little bit. So, anyway, let's get to the New York sports update. Get to the stuff here. All right, so as for the NHL tonight, you got the Sabres, Blues, Capitals, Maple Leafs, Ducks, Lightning, Penguins, Islanders, Hurricanes, Red Wings, Bruins, Senators, Predators, Oilers, Wild, Stars, Sharks, Blackhawks, Devils, Avalanche, Golden Knights, Flames, and Canucks and Coyotes. As for MLB today, you got some got a good amount of day games on today. A couple day games on today with it being travel day. A lot of times Thursday's getaway day for a lot of these teams. But you got the Rays, A's, White Sox, Mariners, Cardinals, Brewers, Nationals, Pirates, Marlins, Phillies, Rangers, Angels, Padres, Braves, Tigers, Royals, Cubs, Rockies, Dodgers, Reds. By the way, I apologize. Did I say the Yankees have Montgomery on the mound today? I messed that up. I completely forgot about Severino. Severino takes the bump today, Yankee Stadium. So it'll be Kevin Gausman versus Severino. Yankees 3-3, Blue Jays 4-2, fourth game of the 4-game set. So Yankees look to split the series as they head out to Baltimore and in Detroit for a road trip. Over-under is set at 8.5. This game's on today, 7:05 p.m. Eastern. MLB Network and Yes Network. Hopefully the Yankees pull it out and get the win. By the way, the rest of the play-in is set up. So Hornets, Hawks, and Pelicans won last night. So tomorrow night will be the Hawks, Cavs, and Clippers, Pelicans. So should be good to watch those two games. So glad I could just sit back and relax and watch those games, and I don't have to watch, the Nets play for their lives. I can wait till Sunday until the Nets series starts. All right, so let's get to fantasy baseball. In my main league, I'm winning 300 to 261. Today I've got going Jared Walsh, Gene Segura, Willie Adames, Jonathan India, JT Realmuto, Aaron Judge, Lourdes Gurriel, Charlie Blackmon, Andrew Vaughn, and Avisail Garcia. So, and I got Kyle Gibson on the mound as well. So I have some injury updates. Alex Krylov is on the 10-day IL. So in his spot, I picked up Andrew Vaughn, outfielder first baseman, who's off to a really good start this season. So slot him in. Really a perfect fit because Krylov was listed as a first baseman outfielder. Vaughn is outfielder first baseman. So really don't lose much there. I do have another injury update to address here. Segura experienced some numbness in his hand after being hit by pitch Wednesday against the Mets, but he felt better after leaving the game and believes he could play Thursday versus the Marlins. Scott Lauber of the Philadelphia Inquirer reports. So he got hit. Maybe a little bit of a retaliation by the Mets because they're still kind of going back and forth. So he got hit, but hopefully he's all right. And as for my other fantasy league, today I got I'm currently winning 304 to 267. Today I've got going JT Realmuto, Jared Walsh, Whit Merrifield, DJ LeMahieu, Bo Bichette, Gleyber Torres, Jonathan Scope, Juan Soto, George Springer, Teoscar Hernandez, Charlie Blackmon, Tyler O'Neill, and Bobby Witt. Avisail Garcia is day-to-day. Could be available to pinch, still day-to-day. And that's for both leagues. He is still listed as day-to-day. So, and in my other injury update, by the way, for pitchers, I got Walker Buehler, Joe Musgrove, and Adam Wainwright tonight starting. So, got a good arsenal going today. Teoscar Hernandez will undergo an MRI. After leaving Wednesday's win over the Yankees with discomfort in his left side, Arden Zwelling of Sportsnet.ca reports. So hopefully it's nothing major for Teoscar Hernandez. He's been a big piece for the Yankees, or for the Blue Jays and for my fantasy team. So for the Blue Jays' sake, they hope he's back. For my fantasy team's sake, I hope he's back because he's a big piece right now, ranked number 1. In his position. So, anyway, that will do it. Good podcast today. Want to talk about Ben Simmons tomorrow. There's some rumors about him possibly coming back. I kind of want to talk about the Yankees and Nets series, or Nets Celtics series, because it's like, Ben Simmons can return, but Nets have to come out of the series with at least one win in Boston with at least series tied. So, anyway, that will do it. For the podcast today. Enjoy the baseball tonight. Yankees, Blue Jays wrap things up. For those Met fans out there, you get the night off. And then tomorrow night, I'm sure many Met fans will be at Citi Field for the home opener. But Yankees tonight, wrapping up a 4-game set, looking to split it before they head out on the road, starting in Baltimore, then going to Detroit. So that will do it for the podcast today. As always, I hope you enjoyed it. See you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.